Okay, as promised, we're gonna do the face reveal. So prepare yourself for disappointment because it's just me. I'll try not to mess up the lip gloss that I put on for this. So hello and welcome to Comparatively Speaking, where we understand the natural world using analogies and comparisons. The first one we're gonna do is called the pizza analogy. And I had such plans for how I would look and, the lighting and all that stuff. And I'm recording on my phone, wearing my PJs, but this is what I want to wear for my first video. So let's talk about the three components of an atom. Now, the atom, as you may know, is what we call the smallest unit that's of matter, that still has the properties of matter. And we know that it's actually, there are smaller things in it, but it's the smallest, like, functional kind of, has the properties of the element that we're looking for. And if you're to break it open, you can see these three main components that we talk about in chemistry, which are the protons, the neutrons, and the electrons are on the outside. So the pizza analogy helps us to understand those three components: protons, neutrons, electrons. So we'll start with the toppings of the pizza. I say, hey guys, we're gonna get pizza. What do you want? And someone says pineapple, and then there's like a war breaks out, and someone says mushroom, and someone's like, oh my God, I love mushroom, we're soulmates. And someone says pepperoni, and that's usually like a crowd pleaser. And we can argue over what toppings we want, but we agree it's pizza. If it's got, different toppings on it, it's still pizza, right? And that's what I like to think of as the electron. Like the electron, the numbers of electrons, as you increase atomic number, going along with that, the electrons will also change. And then in a given element, it can give away or maybe gain electrons. And it's still, in a sense, it's still that element. It's, it's still sodium. It's lost an electron. It's a sodium ion now. It does have different properties, but fundamentally, it's still sodium because the protons haven't changed. So the electrons, they can change a little bit and you get what's called an ion. And I like to call that the topping of the pizza. Maybe we don't agree what the right number is, but we can still say fundamentally it's pizza. Neutron is next. The neutron is like the sauce of the pizza because, again, this is a number that can change and you're still that same element. I can be carbon, for example. I've got 6 protons, I'm carbon, and then usually I also have 6 neutrons. You'll find some what are called isotopes of carbon that have 7 or even 8 neutrons. It's still carbon. It's a different number of neutrons, so we call it an isotope of carbon. And that's also, we'll get to this later, but that's where you get average atomic mass from. It's like, well, how heavy is carbon? Well, are we talking about like most of the carbon or like these other isotopes that exist? So I like to call that the sauce because you can make changes to the sauce of the pizza. Maybe it's white pizza, maybe it's pesto, and it's still pizza, right? So now that brings me to my point, which is if you change the protons, the number of protons, as soon as I do that, I get a totally different element. Like if I have 6 protons, I'm carbon every time. Any atom that has 6 protons is carbon. But if I have 7, I'm nitrogen. 8, I'm oxygen. 26, I'm iron. So changing the number of protons, it's like your serial number. It's like your social security number. It's fundamental to your identity. How is that like pizza? Bear with me. I can put, sauce, crust, cheese, pineapple toppings, and you're like, it's not for me, but it is pizza. Well, pineapple's a bad choice. I can put pepperoni on there. Oh, maybe I don't want that, but I still think it's pizza. I can give you a white pizza and you're like, okay, it's still pizza. Maybe it's not what I was expecting. But if I take your favorite toppings, your favorite sauce, 4 different kinds of cheese, put it all together, and I put it on like a slice of bread or a bowl of pasta or a bowl of rice or a potato, it's gonna be delicious. But no one would say that it's pizza. If you don't have crust, it's not pizza. It's the identity of the pizza. You might still have a delicious meal, but you can't change that fundamental, that crust, and still call it pizza. Those are the protons. If you change the number of protons, You've taken away the crust, now you have a different element altogether. And there you have it, the pizza analogy. Thank you so much for joining us. I know I'm supposed to say rate, review, and subscribe, but I don't really know what that means because I'm pretty sure I'm just posting this like on the school website. But I know that you have your choice of teachers who will sit in front of a phone in their jammies and talk about whether pineapples belong on pizza. And I'm so grateful that you've chosen this teacher on this particular Tuesday evening. So